feel free to object. You can object by experience shows that if your video is off, then you will never be recorded with the video. Same thing with the audio. So I'm recording this, and I'm putting the recordings I created on the advice of my previous guest.
Cool.
I have a channel of the Bonfire Talks.
Okay.
And that's it. So we start. Hello, Adrian.
Hello, Tav.
I'll just one habit that I have now. When I talk to people one-on-one, like in coaching or even like at work one-on-one, I pin their image to the screen. So even when I'm talking, they are there. And this is like something that it's an idea that I try to share with other people, because I think it creates a much more flowing experience. So that's it. Hello, Adrian, again. First, a few words about what is this thing that we're creating here. So when I created a blog about 10 years ago in a few weeks, my first blog, I wanted a blog that doesn't have words. So I created a blog that has only drawings and music. And one thing that disturbs me in this time, in whatever meetings people have, is that it's too structured. So I wanted to have a forum that has no structure. And also I realized that there's a lot of people who I like, I dare to say love sometimes, and I don't have a chance to talk to them. And the daily life doesn't give me this space to talk. So I said, why not have every week invite someone to talk? And also there's tons of people who I love, and they don't know the other people who I love. So this is also a forum for this, for people to discover other people. My assumption is that if someone is connected to me and I'm connected to you, there's a chance that they will be connected to you as well. So like it's a like-minded circle. And the idea is to talk about, imagine that we're in a coffee place, that we share coffee together after we didn't talk for a long time, which in this case it's cheating because we talked like 2 weeks ago, but still. And so we talk about whatever, and there's people in the other tables. And if they hear something and they want to drop in on the conversation, we can either let them in or say it's private. Stay, it's okay. So just like you would behave in any space. And it's part of like I'm thinking a lot about how to recreate, and it's interesting because now at work we have this challenge as well, how to recreate this lost intimacy, a sense of belonging in the new space that we just got as a gift a year ago. So that's the idea of what we're doing here now from my point, but it's not my talk, it's our talk. So first of all, who are you? For the people who may be watching and don't know.
Right. So who am I? People call me Adrian if they speak to me in English. They call me Adrian if they speak to me in Spanish. Adrià. Some people speak to me in Catalan, and some people in France used to call me Adrien. Right. So, but that's how they call me, and that's how I know they're trying to talk to me. Who I am is, I don't know. It's so multifaceted to be able to just pin it down to a couple of words. I'd say professionally, I'm an Agile coach. I've been into Agile since 2004. And recently, I'm very much into sociocracy, the last 4 years or so since I discovered it.
And because of you, I registered now to sociocracy training in 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
So it's your fault. Sorry to cut you off.
That's okay. So, who are you doing it with? Do you know?
I'm doing it in India, so I have
Okay.
no clue with whom, but I could.
Is it Ashok maybe?
I have no clue.
I love the way you just sign up to things without knowing who's training.
You know, whatever doesn't matter. I don't bother
Mm.
registering.
So that's professionally. In terms of my hobbies, I'd say I like the mountains quite a lot.
The
I
what?
like hiking mountains. I
I
like hiking. I like climbing. I like just adventure sports in general. And I've gotten hurt quite a lot because of my hobbies. So broken legs, broken arms. But I mean, yeah, you get over it. We'll see. We'll see how old age goes with all these bones having been broken. And other than that, personally, I'm happily in love with Nuria here present, and very excited to be moving to another country, a tiny little country in the mountains between France and Spain called Andorra, which is kind of something that it's happening and it seems like it's been thought out, but it hasn't. Things have been like just falling into place. It's just so wonderful.
Awesome. I'll say something about myself because it's not only the people don't know you, they don't know me as well. As well, I'm an agile coach. Um, I, I, the thing that interests me is the things that have no name. I'd say, like, I'm inspired by Taoism in my coaching space, and yeah, as I said before, and this is, I would love to share when I first not met you but discovered you, which was
Mhm.
the second time that we met, I think. I ran a meetup of drawing, and
Nice.
I like to get out of comfort zone, mine, others, and I learned how to draw with someone who taught me how to see. And after years of doing that, I decided to take the other side, so to help people draw out of the comfort zone. And I made a meetup. And for the first meetup, I think that I made, I invited you because I met you in
In
Agile
another
Village,
meetup?
something like that.
No,
No?
no. We met in a meetup for pickup.
Ah, yeah, 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 right. It's wonderful. Right. Okay. Yeah. Which was really interesting. Like I
Yeah.
learned a lot there about, NLP and stuff like that. It's amazing stories. Perhaps we'll get there. Who knows? So anyway, I invited you to this meetup, and you said I know nothing about drawing, and I would be happy to join and see. So we went to the museum. I remember like the Petit Palais, and the way that I ask people to draw at first is um, the second exercise is to draw with the other hand without looking, and take a statue and draw it. And I remember that your drawing was, I think, the most amazing one that I saw there. Most of the time, when people do this exercise, they the more they know how to draw, the more they suck, because it's really hard to let go of habits. And when people don't know how to draw, they usually suck as well, because they're afraid to draw something ugly, so they don't allow themselves to draw something out of the ordinary. And you had neither. So I remember I had the photo of what you drew. I lost it, unfortunately, but like it was so amazing to see that, like, you drew without fear and without attachment. And so this is like when I sort of fell in love with you. Like it was strong connection. And also on a more global level, it was a proof of concept because it was the first time that I'm with a group, and to see that it works, yeah, to see that I can help people draw out of the comfort zone, that it no, it's not, there's no there's no doubt about it. So if they can't now, it's no, if they don't, it's not my space, it's their space. So that was the first time. And the last time that we saw each other in person was before I went to Thailand. And you came to my apartment where I emptied everything, the guitar and toys and whatever, and I just put it in the street. And you sat in that space and you showed me your wallet, which was a rubber band.
Mm-hmm.
And you told me that you have a list of 100 items, like you're on a diet of things. So like that was the two times that I remember, and so I would like you now to tell us about this.
Right. So I remember it all got into my head, the whole minimalism thing. Right. There's not like there's documentaries and stuff about this now. But I remember when I first got into that, it was because I had a friend, somebody that has influenced me a lot. I met him in New Zealand when I was doing a PhD stay there for doing a bit of research for 4 months. His name is Mariusz Nowostaski. And he was just very into experimenting and getting out of the comfort zone. So he was trying to be a Buddhist monk for a month. So I said, okay, I'll try it too. And he also showed me like this blog post about this person called Leo Babauta, who was running a blog post on how to change your own habits. It was called Zen Habits. And then he did another one on minimalism. And this was around 2008 or so. And the idea caught on to me, just like what things and possessions are in a way luggage that you carry around, and you can't be very agile when you're carrying around tons of things, right? So when I got back home, I remember in Spain, I counted the things that I had, and I made a list. I remember I did my inventory, and I had like 1,300 things. And I remember Leo was saying, "Oh, he had made it down to a list of 100," and that like blew my mind. Like, how the hell can you do that? And I just started to get into it. And since I moved to Paris, which is then when I met you, it was actually a good exercise to just let go of things. So I invited a bunch of people to my house, and I said, take whatever you want, or if you want to pay for it, pay for it. If you don't, just take it. And I had like my garage sale in Barcelona. And then I remember when I went to Paris, I had my own. I tried to cut it down below 400 items. That was my goal that year. And then I counted my things after moving, and I had 300 and some. I said, okay, that was too easy. So I'll break it down to 200. And I during my time in Paris, I kind of let go of more and more things in order to, because I like the idea of the ascetic mind, right? Like if you need less, you're freer. And this is something that is really important for me. It's my freedom and my ability to do the things I want. And if I have to carry a lot of things, then I can't do that many things that I let go. But then after around 2 years of this experiment, I realized that just like the idea of minimalism is nice. I like it. But if you take it too far, if you take it like an end goal to have less, then you lose out on things also, right? Because I had to let go of I had a bunch of things that I used to like for climbing. And since they were objects, I let go of them. I sold them all. So I couldn't do that much climbing anymore. And I did the same thing with all my hiking gear. And I did all the same thing with a bunch of things. And then I realized I managed to be below 200 items, but I wasn't having a lot of fun, right? It's like, yeah, I made my check in my goal, but I wasn't having fun. So when I came back to Spain, I kind of started buying new things. I had to get back into the use of buying things, which I kind of thought it was like the devil for 2 years. Buying is the devil. And then I got back
Buying
into
or owning?
both. I mean, there's both. Both are very interrelated, right? So buying is one way of owning, not the only one. You can receive gifts, of course. And now I don't worry too much about the things I have with me, because I know that if I need to, I can let go.
Mm.
Right? I don't need to have everything I have with me. I like having it because if I'm using it, it's great. But if I need to go to another country, then I'm okay with leaving behind a bunch of things. Right? And that's the learning I got.
Yeah,
It's not the amount of things you own, is not being attached to them.
yeah. And I think when you do this, you're also aware of owning much more. Like you know,
Mhm.
it's like fish and water. You know, like if you're once you're out of water, you understand water better. Like if you let go of owning, now when you buy something, you say, okay, it's another string that I tied
Mhm.
from me to something. And I
Totally,
remember
yeah.
when you said this, I asked you, so a pair of socks is one thing or two? Like I started challenging you on do you have a girlfriend? And if you do, is she a thing or not? Like it's a,
Well, it's definitely a string attached,
yeah.
right? But it's something that is autonomous and can take care of itself. Therefore, I don't feel the same way as I feel about objects that I need to carry myself. It's totally different experience, right?
And, like when you talk, I think it's interesting to do a count of the strings you have, not
Mm,
only of physical objects, but how much are you tied to your job, to your I don't know, to your friends, to your car, to your wallet, to do some accounting there and see,
mm,
are all of these strings worth keeping? But like what I like about your story, like what resonates is, I think anything that we do as an exercise, if we take it then as a new habit, um, we become slave to it. Like
exactly.
the question is, are you the one owning your habit, or is your habit owning you? So right.
And then you have to talk about agency, right? To really get to decide or do anything. I mean, it's just we're in a part of a system, and I don't think I own my objects more than they own me. I think it's just a bi-directional
Ah, wonderful.
relationship.
So your socks own you,
Yes,
each
and they
one of
smell
them
like me too.
individually or both of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, and socks are also interesting because in socks, unlike shoes, there's no left and right. So do they fight over which foot? I don't know. Yeah,
Actually, I have socks that have left and right. You know those socks that
yeah,
have
with the
fingers on it?
thumb. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So those are the counter example. But yeah. So yeah, that's my story with minimalism. So I was watching there's a documentary now on Netflix about minimalists. There's two guys that I remember that started a blog around 2011 or so, and and you see how their whole business model is around helping others be minimalists, right? So it's not so much about letting go of strings or being more conscious about the strings anymore. It's about you need to have less to be happy. If you don't have less, you can't be happy. And their whole business model is around that, right? And I could see how that's useful for them, but it wasn't useful for me after a point, and I let go of that too.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think you need to be attached to less to be happy? I think in
I
order
don't
to
think
be happy,
so.
all you have to do is be happy, right?
Yeah, which is very difficult, but yes.
Do you want to talk definitions?
Let's go. I
What do
love
you mean
talking
happy?
definitions. What do I mean happy, right? So um, I think the main problem with the West in general is that we think happiness is the state of smiling, of enjoying. Like in Spanish, we have two words. We have felicidad and we have alegría, and happiness is the same in English. And I think the part where like the emotion of being happy right? It's temporary. You can't really aspire to that 100%, but we're trying, right? And trying to be happy as in not sad or angry or fearful 100% of your time is unrealistic, but that's what we're being sold to do. And that's a source of unhappiness and suffering. Because to me, the only possible happiness that is long lasting is the one that is more defined. In my case, I define it as complete acceptance of what is.
Yeah. So I like you opened a lot of things there.
Mhm.
One of them is labeling emotions.
Yeah.
'Cause I think I talked about this with someone last week. Um, Labeling emotions blocks you from labeling anything, by the way, but the emotion is in specifically blocks you from seeing change.
Mhm.
Like when I say now you look, I don't know what. Let's see how you look now. You look contempt. You look
Okay.
well. It it freezes you in my mind in a way that I don't have to look anymore.
Mhm.
And I have a story about this about eye contact. I'll tell you in a minute. But so the way I understand it, or like when I coach people, I try. I don't even try. I don't put labels on what I see.
Mhm.
I try to see the change without putting a name on it. And I find that when I do, it's much harder. Like the change from what I defined to the new state has to be much more drastic in order for me to acknowledge that it exists, while the change is there all the time. Like for this series, I have the series on YouTube, and what I did, I took 3 photos of people, like of me and of the person I'm talking to, and I put it on it as the opening page on the YouTube video. And I see how, if I take a screenshot of you now and in a second, the expression changed a little bit. And when
Mhm.
you look at it as two distinct photos and not as a continuum, you see that it's totally different. But as we have some perseverance of the state in our mind, we don't acknowledge this, especially when we put a label on it.
Mhm.
So that was one thought.
I think that language is the source of what makes us human different, or having able to achieve such wonderful things in the world, but also is the biggest source of suffering. The whole labeling thing. Totally agree.
And in the second book of Tao, like the Xuanzu, there is a story. Like it starts with a small mass, and the author says, "Words are lies. Like words are poison.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I have no way to write this without using words." And that's the big absurd that we're talking about. The other thing that I wanted to say about happiness is, if there's one rule to life that I believe in, is that whatever we resist stays and whatever we accept changes.
Mhm.
So because when we resist it, we stop looking at it. So if I have a pain and I resist it, I feel the pain all the time. But if I look at it and accept it, then it stops being a pain, it starts being a sensation. And a sensation changes all the time. So that's like one thought that I have. And connected to this is the explanation of suffering and happiness. Because again, my theory, you can burst the bubble if you want. When we're happy, we accept it, so it changes. And when we're unhappy, when we're sad, depressed, whatever, we resist it, so it stays. And this thing
Mhm.
is how I understand why there's more suffering than happiness in the normal state of human beings?
I think that the main problem with humans is that we're we're always hoping for something different. We have the ability to imagine something that is not happening currently, and then we don't want this. We want what we can imagine. Therefore, we never accept this because we're always thinking about the future or complaining about the past, and and also once we get something that we thought we wanted, we try so hard for that to stay the same forever, and it's impossible because just everything changes, as you said, and nothing is ever the same. Nothing is eternal. Nothing, everything is transient. It's just a matter of what time scale you're looking at.
Yeah, I remember when I was 10, I saw in a science video, whatever, it, there was a lecture about gas and liquid and solid, and they showed how rocks are liquid. Like solids can be liquid and liquids can be gas, and
Mhm.
they said, you see a rock here, it looks very solid, but you see the droplets that are coming out, and it takes them thousands and tens of thousands of years to go down, but
Hmm.
it's liquid. And like this really blew my mind.
Hmm. There was a book I read recently, which talked about how all animals are just scaled versions of each other. And the smaller the animal, the faster it moves. And since it moves faster, it dies sooner, right? And this reminded me of what you just mentioned, that rocks, in a way, are just slow liquids, right? And liquids are just slow. And I guess humans are slow mice, and elephants are slow humans.
And so one other fact that I remember that I read is that eh, all living mammals have more or less the same heartbeats from birth to
Exactly.
death.
Yes. Which is scary, isn't it?
Why?
Because in a way, at least I'm going to talk about myself. I feel attached to this little thing here, right? And I wanted to stay healthy and moving for as long as I can because I feel attached to this. So my ego is a strong thing. Therefore, death is to some extent not scary, but something that I'd like to avoid.
Hmm.
I don't think it's scary because I don't think there's nothing bad happening after death. Therefore, it's not that scary, but I'd like to avoid it in order to continue experiencing as Adrian.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll tell you a story about death that I have, if you want.
There was a movie. There's a movie about that. It's like this dystopian movie. People have a number of seconds they have left in their arm,
Yeah, I think
and
I
and it's like a currency. They can buy things with the seconds, and if they sell something, they get more seconds. And the really rich people have so many seconds that they can live forever, basically. And the poor people have to scramble around because their seconds are about to end. So imagine if we actually if the number of heartbeats that we have left is static, then do you think people would do sports, right? Because your heart beats faster when you're doing sports, right? Maybe like people would
yes,
want to
but it's
sleep
slower
longer,
after that.
right? So that's the thing, right? Do sports in order to slow down your heartbeat, and that makes you live
Yeah,
longer.
but um, for me, at least at this moment, I'm not afraid of death because what exists is now. The
Mhm.
No, death is a fictional thing in something fictional called future, right? And so and this instance moment, I don't even know how to call it, because even instance and moment have a duration, but this place
Mm-hmm.
of time, it exists forever, like, because it's the only thing that there's there.
Mm-hmm.
So where is the fear from death coming from?
From the projection towards the future, totally. Yeah,
No
it's
future, no
not real.
future.
It's not real. I know.
And the story I wanted to tell about you about death, I'll tell a fragment of it. It's a much bigger one, but I had a talk on the plane to India. I sat near a woman and her two kids. It was from Hong Kong to India, and she was going to India because her dad died, and so like it's a funeral. It's a long process, and she was really sad. And the thing that I talked to her about is that, like, her dad, before he died, he had dementia. So in fact, he didn't die the day that he died. He started dying way before that, right? Only at that point, I like we said, in fact, your dad is still alive. He's alive in your thought patterns and in your kids and in all of the people he communicated with. So he died slowly, but his presence is still strong in all of the ripples that he made around him.
Mm-hmm.
So, like this transition from life to death, it happens all the time, right? And from when we started the conversation, I died a little bit and I was reborn a little bit as
Mm-hmm.
well. Like I'm not, I'm not the same person we started the conversation with. And in this sense, there's no meaning. Like it takes the sense out of this concept of death. Like that's how I see it.
Mm-hmm. And when I'm conscious and I'm in the present, I totally dig what you're saying, but that doesn't happen all the time, unluckily. Hmm. And what you were saying kind of makes me think, right? So what is if you worry about death, is because there's you think there's an I, right? There's an I that
Yeah,
can
thank
die.
you.
And what is that I, right? Is it the physical body? Is it like a personality thing? Personality changes, right? So and as you mentioned, I have influences from a lot of the people that have interacted with me and vice versa. So what is I? Hmm. We're by the way, we're organizing. Hopefully, it'll happen in 2022. We're organizing a festival of consciousness, which is basically what we're talking about now. So, what is consciousness, and
I
how
have to
to
hold on. If I have it on this
broaden
computer
it?
yet, I have to read to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope. The chapter of the Agile Tao that talks about exactly this.
Mm.
So you will pause your breath for a second or not, because I have to share this with you. Yeah, okay. I know. Oh, why not? Yes. I have this version. No, I'll take another one, and you'll have to bear with me for another short while. No. And we're live. All of this is recorded. God. And I'm not editing anything. So, all the people who will ever see it will have to go through. Yes, good. Okay. So now let's share the screen with you. And like this is, so the book of Tao, at least the version that I'm reading, that I shared with you, the Agile Tao, is a very, like, it's a very clear book. Like it's made to be read by agilists and not by
Okay.
spiritualists. If you dig the difference. Um, and the first poem is the most complicated one. And usually this is the poem that makes people enter into the world. Like usually in normal quote unquote translation of the Book of Tao, it defines what do we mean by Tao? What is Tao? And Peter Merrill's version is totally different than the rest, and miraculously, it's also very formally translated. So like there's not a lot of poetic liberties there. And I will read it for you if you want, or if you don't. Do you want, Donna?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes. So mind, life. It's a definition of what is life and what is mind. So we talk about consciousness. It's really relevant. Life is not the breath in your lungs, nor mind the thoughts in your head. Mind is the cause of all thoughts, and life its source. Thought represents form. Form expresses thought, each generating the other in waves on the surface of mind. Beneath the surface, formless and silent, boundless and liquid, dreams with no dreamer. Does it resonate?
You have to shut up in order for it to resonate.
I tried, but 10 seconds, I counted.
I mean, if you try to understand it with thoughts, then it doesn't work, does it?
Like, in fact, for me, the image that surfaces is, as we said before, there's no I here. The life is this collective web of all of us, all of me and you and the people that listening and the people that are not listening, and ants and elephants and all of that, and trees and stars. And mind is the collective thoughts, representations, whatever, like the things that happened inside when all of this happens. And even all of these are not everything. And I love the dreams with no dreamer.
Yeah.
So that's I had to share this with you, and with this I'm complete.
You always have been.
Everyone is, right?
Right. But there's this quite pervasive sense of being incomplete. Right? You see it all over the place. We all like I felt it, and I'm pretty sure a lot of my friends have felt it, that you're not complete. There's something else to be done or be had or be that is not currently there. Right? So it's I think that moment, and this is where I think in Christianity, when they talk about faith, that's what they're really talking about. We've perverted the word faith to mean something like you have to believe in whatever they told you. But I think faith is that feeling of everything is going to be okay. Everything is perfect as it is right now.
Yeah.
And that's faith.
It's two different things, right? Everything is going to be okay, and everything is okay.
I think since the future is an imagination, everything is the present, now and wherever. Therefore, I guess if you take out time from the equation, those two sentences mean the same, right?
If you tell, yeah, of course, if all the yes. There's a saying that I remember I learned once and it stuck with me. and we won't argue about what God means, but like the sentence goes, if God would reveal himself, and sorry about the genderification of God, if God would reveal himself to you and tell you what he wants you to do, you'd be happy doing it, whatever it is.
Okay.
What you're doing now is exactly what God wants you to do. So be happy.
Yeah. And I remember one of the things, because I've had what I call spiritual needs for a very long time, right? But I was always searching for happiness, and and thanks to a good friend of mine now, which is a psychologist, I came to realize that, you know, all of that searching is what is comes from the feeling of incompletion, and there's so much guilt in that, right? I'm not perfect and it's my fault.
A fault is
And
another word, right?
I know. And letting go. So, and I remember when, like, years ago, I had a conversation with Mariusz, and he told me, I think everything is deterministic. Everything that happens is the only thing that could have happened. Remember that sentence from Open Space? And I told him, no, I can't believe that, right? Because I can't believe that this could be simulated in a computer, that we just put like the universe at the beginning, press fast forward, and this conversation is happening. And the reason I couldn't believe that was because I wanted to matter, and where I is my sense of self. And once you realize you don't matter, that everything is just happening because it has to happen, that's if I used to think that that was a thought that was enslaving, and now I realize it's quite liberating.
Yeah.
And it also brings about like a bunch of things that are positive in general, like humility, right? Even if you've been lucky and you've worked really hard for whatever you have right now, that doesn't mean you deserve it. It means the universe wanted it to be that way, right? So it brings, like, knowing that everything is like this because it had to be like this. It's so humbling, and once you accept that, it just makes you, the feeling that comes with this is calming. Even if you're having a bad time, even if you're suffering because your knee hurts, or you have back pain, or you broke a leg, it's
Or
still, in the
broken
grand scheme of
heart.
things, a broken heart. It hurts, right? But once you realize it's just what had to be, then you can just, feel the pain, and observe it as it is, and not necessarily labeling it, because this pain that you feel now is not the same as the pain you felt 2 days ago. It changes, right? And that's beautiful if you can just accept it.
And like I said before, it's not even a matter of pain. Like pain is a sensation with a label on it.
Hmm.
Like if you can remove the label, then observe. Except toothache. Toothache is the only thing that's real pain. That's it.
Too fake.
Yeah.
Oh. uh, I've so I'm I've broken a few limbs, right? And and I've been able, through most of them, to kind of just observe the pain and go with it and not try to avoid it, until I broke my femur. The time I broke my femur, dude, that was so much pain. No matter how much I wanted to concentrate, that was not. I wanted to avoid that big time. So that must be like toothache, right?
Like I think the reason I say toothache is because I think it's in part of the scriptures they refer to this, or like a
Oh, okay.
like the
I'll have
toothache
to look.
is the one exception of spiritually accepting stuff, but fucking toothache, yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah.
You want to talk shop?
Top shop. What do you mean?
Yeah, someone is. Hold on, I have to eliminate all the noises on my phone. The talk shop means let's talk about the agility and stuff, or not really?
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk business.
Yeah, it's not for the business sake, but like I think for me at least, it's very much connected to what we were talking about. Like, it's putting labels on how people and teams and organizations behave, and then believing these labels.
The
No,
Spotify model.
yeah, okay, but yeah. It's not being in the present, like making
Mhm.
plans for a 5-year plan and sticking to. There's a joke that I really love. I don't know if I told you or not. Um, there's a train that runs into a cow house. Like a train gets off the rails and crashes into a cow house. And in the investigation, they asked the train driver, "How did it happen? How the fuck did you manage to crash to go into a cow house?" He said, "I have a very responsible role. No, I usually nothing happens, but if God forbid something happens, it's my responsibility. Now I'm on the train, and I see ahead of me, like 50 meters, 100 meters ahead of me, a cow on the rails." And now I have to take a quick decision. Do I hit the brakes and risk all the wagons, whatever the cars behind to crash into each other, or do I try to run over the cow and perhaps get out of it well? So I decided to run over the cow. I said, "But how did you get to the cow house?" He said, "In the last minute, the cow moved." No, okay. Tell me what you want me to explain.
I didn't understand
Yeah. So
how you got into a
he
cow
said I
house.
took the decision to run over the cow,
Ah, okay, now I get it.
but now it's a solid plan. It's a 5-year plan.
Right.
The fact that the cow moves, I have to stand behind my decisions, right? Because
Okay.
I have a big responsibility. And this is like
Mhm.
the 5-year plan of a company is something like that.
Yep.
So that was the talking shop part.
Uh, this just reminded me of a series that we're watching called Snowpiercer. The planet has frozen, and the only people that are still alive are going on this train around the planet. If they keep moving, they can stay alive, right? And there's a whole society that has been formed inside the train, like the first class, second class, third class, and the tailies, which are people that just got on board without having a ticket, and how the whole society works, and how they try to change things. And in in a way, what reminded me of is the need for certainty, right? And it's just the bigger the organization, the more it needs certainty. And that's why they have 5-year plans and why they try to stick to them, because they want to be precise and predictive, and they need to. And the world isn't going that way anymore, right?
I don't know what you mean by world. There's a lot of companies that go that way. And I think that the bigger the companies are, the more they're detached from the real consequence of decisions. Like a startup that doesn't make the right decision will die in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
A big bank that doesn't make the right decision, I don't know what's right, but like doesn't react in an adaptive way, will
Mm-hmm.
die in 20 years.
Right, because I guess the inertia is so big, and they have so many resources that they can change the environment at will, right? Mm.
And now the question is, who are we trying to help? What's your mission? And
Ah, nice one. So my mission, I say it's growing healthy organizations. And then what I mean by healthy is there's two sides of health. One of them is being able to achieve goals, right? So a very healthy person can run marathons in under, I don't know what the time is, like 2 hours. A slightly healthy person maybe can finish a marathon in a day. And an unhealthy person cannot even, has to like maybe run towards the bus stop. That's about it. And so health is your ability to achieve goals, harder goals. And the other one is your ability to survive threats, right? And last year we had a very big threat, which was the coronavirus pandemic, and which is still going on. And a lot of companies will not survive from that because they weren't healthy enough. So what I like to do is grow, but not in the sense of making them bigger, in the sense of like you grow plants. Right? So I like to grow healthy organizations because I think the types of threats and the types of goals that we need as a society are getting bigger and bigger. So we need healthy organizations to tackle them.
may I challenge the use of the word grow?
Yeah, sure.
So like, how do you grow an organ? Like, who are you to grow an organization? It's the best that I can attempt is to help the organization grow.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I, I don't think I have a lot of agency anymore. I just like I get pulled into companies that are in the right state so that me being there for a while helps them catalyze, right?
Yeah.
And become healthier. I don't think I'm Adrian. I'm helping companies be healthier. It just happens, right? The company wanted to be healthier. They thought I could help. We agreed on the contract, and then things happen or they don't.
Yeah, it reminds me like I wanted to go to do the eye contact thing from another angle pass, but I'll go through this one. So a few years back, I um, I ran into this event of eye contact in Paris, which was a world
Mm.
event, and I was really turned on by this, and I created a group in Paris that does eye contact. And the proof of concept was that I stepped out of the group and it survived. And about a year later, I talked to someone who like took ownership of the group and led it into places that different from what I intended. And he said that he was in the same event and he loved it and he didn't know what to do with it. Like he didn't know how to create something. And what I created was what he took. And why am I saying this? That from my point of view, in fact, all the universe arranged itself to do what I wanted. But when I talked to him, I realized that the universe, including me, arranged itself to do what he wanted. So, from his point of view, which is as valid as mine, I was one of the players, no, part of the pieces that the universe arranged so he got what he wanted. And this is like the universe arranged you to be in service to this company. No, it's not. It's the viewpoints of all the players here are totally different. Like in around Earth, any place is the center. Like any arbitrary point you put is the center of the Earth, right?
Mhm.
And like I find more and more that when the intention is right, the universe arranges itself around it. Like I was thinking about me in this coaching stance compared to me 3 years ago, 4 years ago, how much less effort I put in it, and how much I let things be and fall into place.
Hmm.
And when you let them, usually they do.
Uh, I mean, all of that depends so much, right? Because could you have put in less effort 3 years ago? No, that's who
I
you
know,
were,
of course. Well, whatever happens, the only thing that can, it's okay.
right? And and then you use like do the right thing, and this whole right and wrong is so, it depends so much, right? I mean, maybe the right thing is for the company to die, or maybe, but it depends for who, right? For the
Mm.
owner, it's not the right thing, but maybe for the competition, it's the right thing, and maybe so. It just depends
And
so
for the
much.
planet and whatever. I want something because usually we have much more interrupts than we have here. So I would like to invite people who listen to interrupt. No, it's you don't have to, but just don't feel blocked because no, because we talk so much. And let's give them a space for this. So we can breathe for 20 seconds, and if no one interrupts, we will see what happens.
So taking this opportunity, I will say that I need to leave, but the last sentence about closing the company, I'm in transition mode. I want to exit from my company that, of course, I'm attached to since it's 9 years of my energy. And I'm dreaming about detaching from the company. And I know that it will be better, and I'm the limit now for it. So this is beautiful, but hard. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So thank you again, and have a wonderful evening, all of you, and
Sure,
greetings from Poland.
you too.
Thank you, Joanna. Hmm.
And this is about the pain we talked about, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, and detachment is hard. Like, it's like a lot of things. It's easy once you're there. Like, I know that from my, I don't know how to call it. Like, I don't want to sound pretentious, but like awakening or something is something that you work on for a long, long time, and suddenly it's there and it's so simple.
Hmm.
Like once you see the road to get there, and say, I could have taken this shortcut
Hmm.
20 years ago.
Right. The thing is, this awakening thing, which there's like so many new age books about
Yeah,
awakening and nirvana and all of that. It's just something you can't work towards. Is putting in effort and going to retreats and doing your meditation every morning is not going to get you any closer to that. It's something that the universe decides whether it touches you or it doesn't, right?
I see it a little bit differently. um, you can't work toward it, but the problem is that the one thing you have to let go is the habit to work forward things. And this is the real work, is to practice not working toward things, practice to um, put minimal weight on expectations, and
Okay.
it's a hard work.
Hmm. But that doesn't mean don't put any effort. So to me, those two things are different, right? So my personality is I like to put an effort in things, right? And that's just going to continue to happen whether I practice or not. I like to put in efforts. What I think you can practice is to not have expectations on the outcome,
Mhm.
right? Or you can have the expectations, but don't be attached to them. We'll see what the universe wants. The universe wanted me to put in the energy. and we'll see what happens with it. I put in the energy because I have expectations that it will achieve something, but if it doesn't, then we'll accept that, right? And that's the hard part when you've been, putting in effort for a long time to achieve something, and that something doesn't happen. Then that's the attachment there, the pain.
So in fact, it's acceptance. Like
Yeah.
the thing is acceptance, and I think especially in Western society, it is very hardwired into us.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's in the Bible. It's the original sin, right? When they ate that apple, and they left paradise, which was total acceptance. And now they felt, and what was the first thing that happened is that they started to feel guilty about it, right? And it's the whole guilt, as opposed to acceptance, is the source of suffering, because we believe we do things.
Like about this, I thought once I thought about comparing the archetype of Western European stories and Eastern stories. So Western stories goes like this: like you do something and you work for it and you try and then you get punished, and but then you know, like there's a moral there, and the witch tries to catch you, but then the hunter comes and he kills the witch and he saves you from this, like. And when I read about the original story, like the origin story of Buddha, it's his dad wanted to have the perfect son. So when his wife was pregnant, he had gardeners take out every blade of grass that started to be yellow, and took care of the all of the environment. Now, if it was a Western story, but there was one gardener that left one blade of grass, this, and then when he was born, then the witch, ta 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 ta. The Eastern version of it, and the baby was born and he was perfect. So like all of the moral roller coaster of the West doesn't exist in Eastern stories as much as I understand. And like also koans are an Eastern concept, right? Like it's all of the the Buddhist stories. There's one about a samurai that goes in the forest and suddenly he sees a rhinoceros, and he starts to run from the rhinoceros, run, and the rhinoceros after him. And then on the other side, he sees an elephant. So he runs to the other direction, and now he escapes from both of them. And now he stands in front of a cliff. And but they're both after him, and he has no choice. And he jumps from the cliff, and he hangs to his life from a bush a bush of berries, and the roots of the bush start one by one to be torn from the ground. And then he sees at the end of at the bottom of his hand some berries, and with the strength, like he reaches and he eats the berries, and the berries were great. And it's such a lovely story. And it couldn't have been a Western story.
No.
There's no crime and punishment. No, there's no sinners. Like there's no moral that if you choose the right path, then God will reward you. So I don't know why I told this, but like I love this story.
And what is your mission with companies? So in your work, what is your mission?
The grand one or like the detailed one?
Let's start with the grand one then.
The grand one is really simple. Like it really became clear to me with the Book of Tao, and it's harmony. It's to help the universe into harmony.
Mm-hmm.
Like teams spend so much time doing this or pulling each other apart, and if you just align them, there will be much less wasted energy in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I love to help the organization pose itself the question, what is my goal in life? What do I want to change in the world? And then let it trickle down to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
If a team has a common mission, there will be, again, like I won't find now the right chapter from the Tao, but when there's when the big faith is gone, you start to have rules, and when rules are weak, you start to have politics. And once you can get, you know what, I will do that. Let's see. So I'll search it with you. I love this book. I don't know if I told you already 1,000 times or more, but I really love this book. So let's see. So let's search politics. Yeah. Voilà. Bureaucracy.
Mm-hmm.
When people ignore nature's tide, culture and cults appear, and law and lawyers and politics. As natural relations break apart, businesses become profitable. As people learn to compete, owners and managers and masters, if you want, like scrum masters and product owners, right? Owners and managers turn up. If we could end business and management, natural relations might return. Cancel law and politics, people might share and prosper. Forget owners and rules, corruption and conspiracy might end. But treating symptoms is no cure. Real remedies treat causes, speak honestly and act gently, forgive debts and calm fears, break habits and simplify plans. Does it answer your question?
So this was the detailed explanation of your purpose?
Yeah. In fact, any random poem here. Let's see what this one. Purpose. Yes, Ale, let's go. Another one. Purpose. Nature's tide ebbs and flows, destroying and creating, shaping everything, demanding nothing. It creates form to no plan. So it seems careless, and destroys form for no reason. So it seems ruthless. The agile don't worry about nature's purpose, but adapt each other to its tide. And like I could go on, just really any random chapter here almost answers the question that you want. Did you want do you want to have a more a concrete answer, or is it enough for you?
It's enough. I see somebody wants to chip in.
Yeah, so chip
Yeah,
in. Let's talk.
I just had a question reading what you just read. It's that as soon as you have a mission, you have a purpose. Do you think that it can sort of like leave you in a spot and you're not evolving because you're kind of stuck in this one mission that you're trying to accomplish? And that's a question I have about missions, because you sort of craft your mission, then it's there, and then perhaps it prevents you from seeing other paths because you're sort of like trying to go towards that one purpose. That's something I've always wondered about, and what you read made me think about that.
Yeah. So it's a question for me or for Adrian?
kind of for whoever's here.
So my answer is this. Currently, I am somehow I'm trying to help the organization use OKRs to go into the space of OKRs. And one difference between OKRs and the KPIs that they use now is that OKRs are updated every 3 months, while the KPIs are updated every year. Okay, the shorter the loop of you looking at reality and adjusting your purpose, the more agile you are, right? If you take if your mission is to chase like a cheetah chasing a gazelle, okay, the purpose of the cheetah is what? Is to go over there, so if the gazelle will move, it will never get to the gazelle, right? Is it to chase the gazelle? It means that when the gazelle moves, it adjusts its course. Is it to satisfy its hunger? It means that now if there's a rabbit jumping in the field, it will change the course and stop chasing the gazelle, will chase the rabbit. So you can, depends on how well you define your goal, you can always find a higher goal that this goal relates to.
Right. So that's probably why you're having this harmony goal as your general goal, and then probably adjusting your sort of smaller goal. Is that?
I don't know, smaller or bigger, but what I'm saying is the faster the feedback loop between your goal and reality, the more agile you are, because agility is reacting to a changing world, right? In a prompt way, whatever. But so for me, having a goal is not bad, but don't, it's just like the train and the cow, right? Don't stick into it. Like don't have a fast enough feedback loop to adjust your plans and your goals fast enough for the world where you are, right? So if the train driver in this in this story would adjust his plans every minute, probably it's not a good feedback loop. But if he would adjust it every nanosecond, perhaps it's too much for the situation, right? So have a sustainable pace of readjusting your plans, and readjusting doesn't mean reinventing,
right?
Right. So it's not like you have to, you can, why not, if you have the resources to reopen everything. But be aware that your target in the world is moving target, and part of your target is you as well, and you are moving as well. And if you let yourself, your needs evolve in parallel to the world that changes. Does it, I don't know, does it answer your question?
Absolutely, yeah.
Great. Adrian?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things there. One of them is, it depends on how like close your goal is, right? If my goal is to, go in that direction, or is it to chase the cow, or is it to get fed, or is it to grow a family, right? So it depends on how you define it. The more narrow the definition, the more you'll be kind of stuck into something, right? But then again, even if you define something very broadly, you can be like, and changing your mission is okay. I think it's totally fine, right? So I remember years ago when I did an exercise to kind of like define my mission, I think it was something along the lines of unleashing the creative potential of people working together. I think that's what it was. And recently I kind of found a simpler way of expressing a similar thought process, which is to grow healthy organizations, right? And maybe in a few years I'll change it again. It's okay. I mean, just don't be attached to your mission.
But you will always have one.
Or not. Who knows? Maybe I'll be happier without one. And just, for now, it drives me, right? And I feel the energy from that statement. So I keep on mentioning it.
I think we have a mission because we're asked what our mission is. Like, it's the question that we need the answer. I'm not sure that the cheetah that chases the gazelle knows why it chases it. It just does,
No.
you know. It just
Right.
there's a gazelle passes, and the smell in the air, and the sensation in the stomach, and the alignment of the stars just make it start running.
Or it might have a Kanban board in its den, and it does OKRs every quarter, saying, "Okay, for this quarter, I want to catch 10% more deer than the last quarter."
Yeah, for sure it's one of these.
It is very, very, very ridiculous if you think about it. What we do as humans in organizations, like this whole goal setting and working and trying to achieve it, and this, all of this is, if you just think of it coldly, all of our needs could be satisfied just with what is already. We need food, we need shelter, we need a bit of clothing, and not much more, right? But all this, and this is something that I think we talked about it last time. The whole agile thing of trying to get results faster and faster feedback cycles and everything. I'm not even sure that's a good thing, right? Because we're just, everything is just speeding up, and stress level are just getting bigger and bigger.
And for
Do
me,
we really need to
this
go
is not the
faster?
goal of agile. It's not at all the goal of this thing called agile.
The goal of agile is to get people, like business and technical people, to work better together solving problems, right? But I mean, do we really need to solve many more
Not sure.
problems?
No, I'm not sure. The goal of agile is to be happy. For me, like, it's a happy
Oh, but then,
organization. Like, it's, you know, like it's this, not more than that.
but then not many organizations are happy, right?
Not many organizations are agile. Whatever that is, like, you know, it's a scale,
Yeah.
or whatever. Okay.
But
Any
it just
other
makes me
questions
wonder.
from
The
three
like
spectators or whatever? Yeah, the large
the
audience
audience.
you have.
I don't have any additional questions. I just wanted to let you know that I will have to get going, but that I really like the format of the whole bonfire talk. So thanks a lot. And it was great hearing both of you guys. So thanks.
So I just want to say about this something before you leave. My idea is not necessarily to be the host. My idea is to hold the space. So if you want to invite someone to a bonfire talk, you're welcome to come, and I'll be part of the audience, or I won't. No, it's just the idea is really for people to invite people they want to talk to, and invite others to come.
And to share, right? Very nice. Well, thanks a lot, and bye.
Take care. So, I guess Nuria, that's your name, right? That you know Adrian well. You don't have any questions to him. That you waited for this forum to
maybe later.
We don't have a lot of time. 10 minutes. And Michael, what do you make
I'm
out?
just listening.
Like, I'm curious, as we're about to end, like in
Okay, I've made copious notes. So a little earlier on, I mean, you're talking about happiness. To my mind, happiness is transient and happiness is futile. I think that what you were alluding to earlier on in the conversation, and I'm just sort of scanning my notes, but to be honest with you, I don't know where in my notes it is. At the moment, I have to read it carefully to find it. But you were talking about happiness. As I say, I think happiness, to my mind, yeah, you were saying that happiness is about being satisfied with what is. So I've got a word for that. I also don't seek happiness because I don't don't believe in happiness. You know, if we're going to seek happiness, then we're going to be like yo-yos every day. I seek what's termed contentment. And
Okay.
contentment is exactly the same thing as being satisfied with what you've got, where you're at. And when you can do that, then you find not necessarily happiness, but you do find peace. And that, to my mind, is an important state to be in, because when you're at peace, you can start to make decisions that are perhaps more sensible than you could when you're not. And to the point at the end of the conversation about organizations and this endless quest for more, to my mind, I'm not entirely sure why corporates spend their days chasing after stuff. But I'd suggest that perhaps it's because, like snails, they've got a trail and they need to support that trail until it disappears. And that trail becomes more and more expensive as time goes by to maintain. And there's less and less to go around because of a number of factors. And all of them have to do with cost. So, cost of staff, cost of educating that staff. And it's not just about the direct cost to the business, but it's indirect cost. Like, for example, students go to university, they pay an exorbitant amount of money for a course, come to work, and they've got to pay that loan back. So the company indirectly carries that burden, plus, of course, all the retirees. So it's just, at some point, the lines converge and it's going to break. There's no question about that. It's already breaking to my mind. So yeah, c'est la vie. I look at this a lot and I kind of like, well, I don't exactly snicker because I'm part of it, of course. We all are to a greater or lesser degree. I like what you said earlier about losing stuff, but I think that to me, as you said, it's about losing the grip that those things have on you. It's being able to just let go. If we could just all learn to get to a state where we can do these things, but that's mindset. Agile is mindset. So effectively, something I was talking to about my wife over the weekend is this: the agile movement is becoming more and more invasive, to use a term, okay, into every aspect of life. The problem with that is that it's starting to sound like a religion, as opposed to a methodology. So, or a mindset. Okay, so is it a religion? I don't know. I have to decide on that.
I hope
What
not.
do you think?
So my answer for you about this specifically is interesting because as I said, I'm a huge follower of the Tao. And I just realized about 3 years ago that Taoism is also a religion. There is a religion called Taoism with rituals and monks and like there's a whole religious industry of Taoism. And where I read it, they said, thank God for that, because it's the religion who kept the book or the mindset alive. If there was no religion, currently we won't have the Book of Tao. So it's interesting about agility. I think that it is whatever you want to see. There's no answer. Like if you see it, whatever you see it, it becomes. It's just like money. If a lot of people, if more and more people stop believing the illusion of money, there will be no sense in money. Like Bitcoin got born because a lot of people believed that it's real. So whatever sense we put into it, that's the sense we have.
Yeah.
But like I adored your comments. By the way, you're right about the happiness is Is not the right word.
No. No, it's a futile exercise, is happiness. That's what
An
I think.
exercise, right? It's a
Yeah. Dov, I have really enjoyed this. I have enjoyed this, Adrian. It's been great. Lovely conversation, lovely format. And hey, even if there's not a big audience, it's intimate and it's great. It's lovely to just share a little and get a sense of where everyone's at. It's really great. Yeah. So thank you.
awesome.
Enjoyed it.
Thank you for being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So that's it. And now that we're about to end, what are you left with?
What have I left with? The connection, really. And the poems. Looking forward to reading more of those.
I talked to someone today at work. I sent him a few poems, and like he loved one of them, and he said, "Is there a hard copy version?" I said, "Unfortunately not. One, because Peter is lazy or he has other stuff to do, but two, because the book changes all the time. Like every time, every time he has a new version, and he said that's even better. Get the print out, and every 5 years get a new print out, and I will have a collection of all of the states of the book." So yeah, it's and a hint for you: you can download the book in LeanPub, and the demo version is the full version. So like. Download, and if you like it, buy it, and then you get the full version, which is an exact copy of what you already have. That's it. For me, I really like, I love when you say connection. It's because I invite people that I would love to connect with, so it's obvious. And so now I'm curious, Nuria, did you discover anything about Adrian that you didn't know before?
Yeah, I learned some new things from him. Yes. And I enjoy the conversation between all of you. It's a complete new experience for me to participate in these kind of events. So I really enjoy it. And I learned some new things from Adrian. Yes.
Such as, or will I put you on the spot if I ask such as?
No. Well, I knew about the conscious thing, but maybe some of the experience that he had or that he explained, some of them were new to me. We've been together for a little bit more, eight months now, and we are learning from each other each day, learn new things and new experiences. And every day we share new things. So yeah, I learned a little bit more about him and I like it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. It was wonderful to see you. And now I release you all to have your dinner.
Thank you, Dov.
Bye.
Thank you.
It was really nice.
Bye.